Hi, my name's Matthew Cochran, guitarist and composer extraordinaire. Um, oh, sorry, hi.
I knew you always wanted to be me.
Well, what can I say? What can I say? Hi, everybody. Welcome to day 3.
Day 3.
And it hasn't gone to plan. We're in the doldrums. We've got one piece recorded so far, and we hope to have a few more than that by now, but we're having to deal with 2 men and 1 hammer. I think it's 1 hammer. I think they're sharing the hammer.
I think they're sharing a hammer.
I think they're sharing a hammer. And they're out the back, and they're building, I don't know, some sort of it looks very nice.
Yeah, it does.
I think you could plant things in it. I think it's agricultural.
Of some sort.
Of some description or degree. 2 very lovely gentlemen who are going to probably bang away with their hammers for a while until the sun goes down, and then we can start recording again. The barn is kind of set in commons grounds?
That's right. So the barn is owned by the Traverse City Recreational Authority. And so on this side of us we have a co-op or an allotment. So it's a public space. And so that's one kind of downside of dealing with the great sound that you get in this space. You have to put up with some stuff.
Yeah.
And right now we're putting up with the fact that there's 2 guys that are doing their job.
They're doing their job.
They're doing exactly what they're supposed to do.
Exactly.
And so we're gonna take a little break from our recording and let them do their job,
what they have to do,
and we're going to make the best of our situation.
I think because between us we've made a lot of albums over the years, and I think I'd have got really stressed out about this back in the day. In my mid-20s I'd have been raging, and I'd been out there confiscating the hammer and questioning the philosophical importance of the planting beds that are being constructed in comparison to the hugely important significance of recording classical guitar music. But I think as sort of experience comes to bear, and we're just letting it roll.
Yeah.
But check at the end, because at the end of our little segment from today, you'll find out. We will check back in today within this episode, and let you know whether or not we actually got recorded what we wanted to record.
Oh God, I hope the answer is yes.
Yeah, and how late at night that is when we sort of check back in. And we're also dealing with Thanksgiving's in a few days.
Yep, we're what is it? Monday?
It's Monday.
Yep. So Thanksgiving's Thursday. So we're right in the flight path,
which is usually fairly quiet, I must say, like big gaps between any sort of planes. But right now, everybody's heading home.
Yep.
Turkey time.
Time.
So today's just been a riot from start to finish.
Has not gone according to plan.
So So we're rolling with it. But like yesterday, we talked about some of the electronics, some of the gear, the microphones, the preamps. And you were so good to sort of give everybody a little lesson in how we record and what things we use. I sort of hinted at the fact that we might talk about the instruments involved in the recording, and our 2 guitars, and the similarities and the differences and the way they balance together and stuff like that. So we thought we'd bring you a little bit of behind the scenes stuff about guitars, about our nails and our approach to preparing the nails for recording. It's very specific for guitar players, but I think very, very useful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you want to talk about your wonderful instrument?
For sure, yeah. So this is a 2005 cedar top Stephan Connor, which is an American guitar maker that a lot of people are familiar with.
Yeah, he's a very famous maker. Yeah.
Guitars. This guitar came to me in a pinch. I had a ruck that got destroyed by Delta Airlines, and had a recording session the following week.
Wow.
And Steve was nice. Actually, the owner of this guitar at the time was Angel Romero. He was trading his guitar out, and they just happened to have this thing sort of hanging about. So it got in time, and I've had it ever since. It was an incredible blessing. I think I got it in 2000. 2006 or 2007.
Okay.
I don't recall. It's very loud.
Yeah.
And it has a few hallmarks, I think, of Connor's more famous design elements. It's got a sound port that's here. It's a single top, and the bracing is a fairly traditional one. But it's a loud guitar.
Nice. Nice. Can I have a look?
Absolutely.
So for everybody watching, when Matthew just said the sound port, these are fascinating things. It's there's a hole in the front, obviously, of every guitar, but there's also a hole here at the top. So I'm actually my hand is going inside the instrument, and it sort of acts as a monitor for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get to hear some of that sound, and it releases some of that sound there as well. Amazing. Beautiful. Stunning.
Yep.
Well, matched in terms of wood for sure to the Connor is my Michael Ritchie guitar. This one is from 2019, and I specifically asked him to get me a cedar guitar. I played spruce forever until that point, spruce Michael's guitars as well, but I just wanted a different type of sound. And I think with all the travelling and all the gigs and stuff and all the moving around, I wanted a little bit more stability. Sometimes spruce, you're sort of sitting at home and you've got that perfect sound in your mind and you can achieve it. And then the travel, the different humidities, the different temperatures, all this stuff, it's not where you thought it, where you think it should be given your practice at home. It's suddenly moved. So when you're going for really sul tasto or some particular type of response from the string, it's different because the wood is being really affected by the environment, the surroundings. I don't know, but cedar to me seems to not do that as much, And when I think about players like, say, David Russell, Manuel Barreco, they're all using cedar guitars. They're playing a lot. They're traveling about for concerts. They're changing their environment a lot. So it was kind of like a darkness of the sound that I wanted that the cedar has, and then also the stability. So I went for cedar as well, which then happily matches really well with your Connor. And this is very traditional as well in terms of, no sound port and stuff like that, but it's very traditional in terms of its construction. Michael's a really traditional maker, follows, really kind of standard Andalusian practices, I would imagine, you can say. And it's I think it's got a very strong, very robust sound. And what I like about it is it's not too dissimilar to your Connor, but it has something different in the sound. So when we're dividing parts, when we're dividing material in the duo, there's the opportunity to think, okay, well, let's have a listen to how that sounds on this guitar, and then let's have a listen to how it sounds on yours and see where we want it to go.
Right.
Yeah. And that's quite fun as well. I mean, I think if we were just both playing two Steinway pianos, or two Yamahas, or two whatever, we wouldn't necessarily have those sonic considerations.
That's that's true to a degree, but I think another thing that we tend to talk about a lot is the difference in our attack.
Yeah, of course.
And it's this guitar has a certain timbre, but also this guitar with my nails, which are false nails, has a little bit of I think a sharpness to it.
Yeah.
Whereas you're using natural, and you're using natural nails on an even more maybe traditional guitar.
Yeah.
So your sound tends to be pretty warm. And so that tends to be another thing that we sort of think through.
Balance,
with this piece, what kind of melody do we want? With this piece, what kind of timbral options do we want to bring out based on each one of our differences? Yeah,
exactly. So tell us about the nails.
Yeah,
I know that's probably something you could talk about forever, but we even have to factor it into the night before recording. You've got a couple of hours. You're gluing things. You're waiting for things to dry. We can't rehearse in that time.
Right.
I'm not saying you're precious, but do you know what I mean? All natural here. That's all I've got to say. You know, I'm just get on with it, But anyway, tell us about the nails.
Well, I will say that. Okay, so these are false nails that are glued on with a glue tab and then a whole bunch of crazy glue underneath.
Yeah.
And the process is a pretty painstaking one.
Yeah. And quite sore, no? Is
yes.
it sore? I thought it looked sore.
Yeah, it can get to be a little uncomfortable if I'm not super careful with it. And the reason I do it is because my own nails are garbage.
Really?
Yeah.
And obviously they're under there somewhere, you know?
Yep.
Centuries from now, archaeologists will find them. Do you know what I mean?
And they're going to find out how useless they were to begin with.
All right, okay.
I went through, so many different iterations of nail care, different things to sort of try and get the natural nails to work. Any kind of folklore that you've ever heard about, if you eat this, blah, 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 with your nails coming. And it just, for mine, I maybe had a good day or two with natural nails, but not every single one.
Okay.
And so what I found is, for me, this allows me to, I would say, accommodate the type of playing that I want to cultivate and that I've wanted to cultivate.
Sure.
And they're exceedingly consistent from 1 week to the next. Yeah. And so I don't really worry too much about, they're, when they go on, they're on, and I don't really worry too much about it. And I don't really worry too much about, breaking a nail or anything, because I can always just slap another one on. So that helps, and it's kind of practical for those types of purposes. But it does mean that in my week, I need about a solid 3 hours to apply and then to sort of shape the nails the way I like to do it.
How long would that last? That set that you've got?
It's about a week.
Okay, so it should last for the whole recording.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I'm not going to have to sit through that again. I could practice in that time, I must say. I could do something very constructive.
You're welcome to help, but I don't think
I don't
that you'd be all that.
Yeah, I'd be
engaged.
rubbish at it. It's interesting with natural nails. They do wear down during the session.
True.
And thinking about some of the stuff that we've been doing, I've had quite a lot of really fast ostinatos on the bass strings and stuff in the second movement of your Pale Blue Dot.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, okay, I can see it. I can see it's going down. And then you think, okay, 3 more days, 4 more days, how am I going to sort of manage it,
Yeah.
And you're not, it's not going to you don't sit there overnight going, please grow. You're sort of reshaping a little bit. I'm actually not filing as much as I normally would file to sort of not overdo it a little bit and work away with what I've got. I'm just kind of leaving it there and then filing it just before we go for a take and stuff like that. But it's very interesting because, again, the attack, the different sounds, the different qualities of sound when we strike the string, it's really interesting. We're thinking about it all the time when we're recording, when we're doing the takes, to sort of get that balance as nice as possible.
And what's kind of nice about these sessions, and I would say even about the duo in general, is that our first ever event was you and I recording in this room.
Yeah.
And so we had from the jump, we were listening very, very carefully to what kind of attacks we had, what the differences are in our sounds, and how we can kind of make those differences, bake those differences into what our sound is as a duo.
Yeah, I think rather than trying to make it formulaic or matching, we've explored all those differences, all those options, and sort of, like you say, cultivated something from that. It's interesting. I don't know if you can hear it. It'd be interesting if you can pick up on the hammer, which is still going on. I can occasionally hear a whack, and I think, okay, are we going to get to any more recording?
For 5 minutes, I forgot about that hammer.
They're just sorry, it's
now,
back now.
Now it's in my head.
Yeah, exactly. I think we should have a big blow-up hammer. Do you know what I mean? in the room. It's kind of what I feel like is going on. Well, actually, thinking about that, the movement that we recorded this morning before the hammering began had us on a Monday morning thinking about routine interplanetary violence. That's the title of the fourth movement of the Pale Blue Dot Suite, and what an incredible piece to start playing on a Monday morning.
It's great. This we should mention that Pale Blue Dot, the book that was written by Carl Sagan, is a vision of humanity sort of leaving planet Earth and inhabiting other spaces.
Yeah.
And he's kind of imagining, in certain places of the book, he's imagining how that would work, like what our political systems would look like if we had sort of populated other planets and had found ways to live. And so the chapter title of that particular idea was called Routine Interplanetary Violence, which was like, of course that's going to be the title of
exactly.
Like it has to be the title of a piece. And so it goes, so the movement kind of goes back and forth between like little argumentative motives and then sort of talking over each other and then turning into these big kind of explosions,
so cool.
and then kind of going back into nothingness and then growing into these big violent moments, and then it's really cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. I mean, I'm considering using some interplanetary violence with Hammer Man, if we can't get back to
our poor guys.
But actually, we'll share a little bit. I think we've got a little clip of that movement to share with you. And we're fingers crossed now. That's all we are. We're just kind of like hoping that we come back to you at the end of this, and we've recorded your final movement, Aberrations of Light, and then that's Pale Blue Dot completely in the can, and then also Icarus by Ralph Towner, the very first thing we recorded in the barn, the very first notes we played. So we actually have a recording of that that's very nice, but we wanted to do it again. Now we've gigged it a few times and put it on the album with a slightly different feel. So hopefully by sometime today we will come back to you and we will have a little bit more music to share and a little bit more insights. Tomorrow, day 4, we have the radio coming in on location to join us in the recording sessions and sort of make some features and different programs. Which is really exciting. Yeah,
we've really enjoyed a wonderful partnership with Interlochen Public Radio.
Yes, they're great.
And so we have Kate Botello, who's the host of a number of different original programs on Interlochen Public Radio, and IPR news director Ed Ronco is also coming in. So we're actually shooting footage for Kids Commute.
Awesome.
For Classical Sprouts.
Even more awesome.
For the Up North Lowdown.
Up North Lowdown. I'm there.
And In Studio A.
But on location.
But on location. So In Studio A kind of comes to the Cathedral Barn.
Nice.
And so we'll get some, we'll have a feature in every single one of those programs, including a full week of Kids Commute dedicated to each movement of Pale Blue Dot, which I think is going to be a ton of fun.
Also great just for youngsters thinking about, science fiction, the planets and all that sort of stuff. We'll tell you more about these programs. In fact, we'll actually get Kate to tell you a little bit more. I'm sure IPR won't mind being part of the day 4 behind the scenes. So we're going to have some different faces and some different things to share with you tomorrow. Right now, I cannot hear any hammering.
Let's go.
So we're going to go and do it. Okay.
Let's do this.
All right. See you soon.
Bye for now.
So this is good news, not bad news. The fact that we're having a drink, the fact that we survived the hammers.
We did.
And the banging. Cheers, man.
Cheers.
What a great day 3. We're not done yet. We'll see you tomorrow for day 4. But we managed to get everything we needed to get in the can today and recorded. And there was no violence towards men with hammers.
Although there was violence.
Although there was some violence. Yeah. Musical violence.
Interplanetary.
All right. Cheers, man. See you tomorrow.